Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm absolutely cream crackered. This is my first day off since I come back from Germany about 4 weeks ago, and I've been thinking a lot recently about this phrase, time is money. You know, you hear it everywhere. Time is money. Oh, you're late with something. Oh, well, do you know time is money? You do overtime. Yeah, well, time is money. Well, I don't think anybody ever really stops to question that and what it actually means, because if time was actually money, then surely you'd be able to borrow some, earn it back if you lose it. But you can't do any of that, can you? Let's be honest. Because unlike money, time never returns. It's finite. Once it's gone, it's actually gone forever. Like yesterday, you cannot go back and repeat yesterday, unfortunately. And this is what I've started to come to realise as I get older. Time isn't just money. It's far more important than that. Because money is replaceable. Well, time isn't. You can lose money and you can recover. You know, let's just say, you can lose 10 grand or you can lose a house and you can still bounce back. But with time, well, time's rather more precious than I think we all give it credit for, if I'm being honest. You know, if you lose 10 years of your life, well, that's an entire decade gone. You're never getting that back. And this is the thing. I've started to realise that we probably value money over time exponentially, because we've started to value money over time, and that kind of started to make me think, maybe we've got this backwards. And weirdly, it's doing the overtime that's made me to start questioning things, you know, because I spend a lot of time driving up and down the country. I mean, in the last week I've been to Scotland and back, I've been to Margate and back, and I've even been down to Bath and then through to Oxford and even the Lake District, you know, and I've been past places like Lake Windermere and Stonehenge, and I think to myself, wouldn't it be nice just to park up and just actually spend some time there rather than rushing back? You know, driving past these places like Stonehenge, woo, as you're driving past, wouldn't it actually be nice to pull up and park on the drove with the other caravans and camper vans and actually take the place in? But instead what I do is I carry on driving and think, yeah, I'll add it to the bucket list. Well, I'm slowly beginning to think that the bucket list is probably more important than the overtime, because I rush back and all I'm doing is rushing back to get into bed, to recover and rest, and then go again tomorrow for the same. And I guess I've spent years travelling through life and not actually living life, if that makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I'm sorry about this video. It is literally like just a rambling thought here. But it is my first day off, and I don't know if you can hear a little bit of humming, but I'm also filming another video which will come out later. I'm reviewing the All Powers R1500 Lite. I think what drove me to start thinking like this is that trip to Thailand last year. And I'm not saying that I came back from Thailand and I'm this new found myself type of guy. But what I think was more important is I actually went for 6 to 7 weeks. And that was 6 to 7 weeks where my brain switched off from all the pressures that I have at home in the UK. At the time, it was still nowhere to live, but it was the car insurance, the van insurance, the job, the social obligations that I still had. And when I was in Southeast Asia, it was like a complete disconnect. It was like, well, they can't even contact me because my SIM card don't work. And it was like the best 6 to 7 weeks of my entire life, by far. But I don't think it was Thailand. I thought it was, but I don't think it was. I think it was more of the fact of like just that whole leaving behind the entire routine of pressure that we have in life. I had a 6 to 7 week mental break from that, and I don't think I fully recovered because I seen stuff in Thailand where people are living far more fulfilling lives than I'm living even now. I'm not the finished product. I'm making steps towards the finished product, but I'm not there yet. But even in Thailand, there were people with less means than me living their best life and finding happiness out of what we consider here absolute poverty. And it made me think, what are we actually going to work for and then doing overtime for? I mean, it's like, have we come into some sort of like dystopian life where we end up being a credit card fueled measuring contest? Oh, Suzanne at number 26 went on a cruise. Well, we need to go on a cruise. Like, really? Or the new car on the drive, the new Audi, or them electric vehicles. I mean, anyway, I think we're going off a tangent now, so let's get back. So people work 48 years of the year, leaving you for vacations or holidays, and you spend an insane amount of money to go on holiday to escape the life that you don't particularly enjoy, just to get that little bit of a freedom. I think that's really sad. And when you think about it, it is really sad. And the worst thing is I've done it myself. You end up working overtime to fund that 2 weeks in Mallorca or that 2 weeks later in Tenerife. You end up spending your entire life maintaining a life and then work extra to have some decent quality time off. And you sit there by the pool and you think, oh, this is a life. I'd love to live in Spain like I did with Thailand. And then you get back to reality, and then, do you know what, that holiday is very, very quickly forgotten. And then you're back to the daily grind. And I'm starting to question, is that all there is to life? Well, I'm beginning to realise, actually, no, it isn't. And that is why I'm starting to value my own time over money, because yes, I'm piling in the overtime right now, and the reasons are really quite simple, because short term I need a cash influx, because this YouTube doesn't pay. Well, it does, kinda, tiny bit, but nowhere near to the scale of what I need it to do. But I am not spending the next 20, 30 years working overtime as standard. This is the last year that I'm doing overtime, and the reason why I'm doing the overtime and I'm tolerating the overtime right now is because I've got a couple of decent projects. I mean, obviously I've got the new caravan that's coming. Well, I still need to pay for that. And then there's another project after that that's going to cost me probably about 10 grand all in. But I would do that anyway. But yeah, this is probably the last year that I'm doing overtime. And then come next year, I'm hoping to step that down from not just doing overtime, but actually reducing my work hours and taking a bit of that time back, because I'm starting to value time more than I do money, if that makes sense. And I'm not saying that money isn't this evil thing. It's absolutely necessary. But for me, my time is starting to become more premium than the cash I can earn from trading it, if that makes sense. Anyway, I think I'll wrap it up here, because I think I've probably bored you enough. But what are your thoughts on time is money? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, I'll see you next week with something a little bit more upbeat and happy. Bye.